How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another automotive news video, and today we're actually going to be talking about the new announcement of an electric DeLorean coming to Pebble Beach this August. And yes, you heard me correctly, an electric DeLorean. I think this is really kind of, I think it's cool for sure. I think it's definitely exciting, cool, fresh, interesting. But I also think it's a little bit funny too. I mean, just talk about something that's completely out of left field. I feel like DMC as a brand hasn't really done anything for at least a couple decades now. I'm not too much of a fan of them. I don't follow them actively. So if this has been in the works for quite some time, let me know down in the comments below if you really do know. But yeah, I just feel like this is really just kind of out of the blue. I do think it's really cool. That's why I'm making a video on it. If I didn't think it was cool, I wouldn't really be making a video on it. But I'm actually pretty excited to see what this car is going to look like, because before we even get into this article, I did just want to talk about the previous DMC DeLorean that was out, that was made famous by the Back to the Future franchise. And I mean, from a spec standpoint, from a technical standpoint, on paper, this DeLorean, it really wasn't anything special. As a matter of fact, it was actually like a really kind of crappy car. I know some of you guys might be DeLorean fans. I don't get triggered by that or anything, but I mean, just looking at its specs, it was only made from the model years 81 to 83, 1981 to 1983. It had I think a Volvo V6, and it only made 130 brake horsepower, had a top speed of 110 miles per hour, and it came in either a 5-speed manual transmission or a 3-speed automatic. And speaking about its speed, we know that the top speed was very limited, but also the acceleration was pretty atrocious as well. It went from 0 to 60 in 9.5 seconds, and I believe that is for the manual transmission car, and the automatic was even slower, going from 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds. So, I mean, in order to get to that 80 or 88 miles per hour, whatever you need to travel time, you need a pretty long straight, to say the least. I mean, it was very slow car to begin with. And also the very edgy and kind of wedge design of the vehicle did have a curb weight of just over 2,700 pounds. So it's not even like it was a low power, low weight vehicle. I mean, it was a little bit low weight, but it wasn't like something like an NA Miata or something like that. So there wasn't really much appeal to this vehicle besides its futuristic design, which it did look really cool for the time. Had those gull wing doors. It's a very iconic body style. And personally, I think, they look really cool. I just think that they're, terrible vehicles underneath all that, style. Now, what's really crazy about the DeLorean and what makes it so unique is the fact that it's, such a bad technical vehicle, but yet everyone loves it. I mean, I love the thing. If I was able to financially afford to buy a decent used DeLorean, I would definitely scoop one up, because not only are they extremely iconic, but it's very clear that if you have a good one in decent condition with low mileage, they're actually an appreciating asset because of how iconic they are due to the Back to the Future movies in that series. Like, just a couple examples here, like going on cars.com. Here's one with just under 40,000 miles for $62,000 US. Here's one for just under 2,000, with just under 2,000 miles, pretty much mint condition, I would have to assume, for $120,000. That is absolutely insane for something like this. Here's another one for $98,000, $50,000. Here's actually the most expensive one I could find, which is listed for just under $130,000 US. So anyways, you guys get the point. They're really iconic, and for DeLorean to come back, and not just come back in any normal fashion, but to actually come back as a fully electric vehicle, it's really special. So now, moving on to this article by Car and Driver. I will have this article linked down in the description below, like all my other automotive news videos. But you can clearly see that this vehicle will be actually debuted in this August at Pebble Beach in California. And the only kind of sneak peek that we have is this little very silhouette, shadowy picture of the actual car itself. You can see the gull wing doors. You can see this like little light bar going across where the grill would be. It's probably not going to have a grill because it's going to be electric. We've seen that with most EVs now, but you get this little light bar. You get the kind of a sense of the shape of the vehicle. But most importantly in this picture, again, you do have those gull wing doors. So that is going to be really, really cool to see. So in this article, they start to talk about how iconic it was. And then they have a cool little pun right here. It's only a matter of time until another entity brought the notorious vehicle back to life. And that is what, DeLorean Motorsports Reimagined is actually doing. So I'm assuming it's not the same, DMC manufacturer. It's going to be a different manufacturer actually making these cars, or it's going to be DMC reimagined or kind of rebooted. But the actual CEO, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but he actually did hold positions in both Volvo and Tesla, which obviously Tesla is an electric car company, but Volvo is surprisingly, like, a lot of their models are either hybrids or electric. I'm actually pretty sure they don't have any new models that are, standalone internal combustion engine powered. I'm pretty sure all of their vehicles that they sell are at least hybrid when it comes to electric power. But anyways, he did mention that, this thing will have over or at least 300 miles of a driving range. But, while he was being questioned or interviewed, he hasn't really, spilled any beans about this car. So nobody really knows, what to expect of this thing. But taking a little kind of sneak peek into the design and the brains behind the design, the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, Troy Beats, said that the company actually plans to show at Pebble Beach, imagines what a modern DeLorean might look like if it had been around for the past 40 years. So because of this little quote right here, I'm personally predicting something that, yes, obviously will have the gull wing doors like we saw in the picture, but I'm also predicting something that is going to look a lot different. There might be some, features here and there that are pretty similar, but I'm going to expect, because if he's saying this, that means that they're designing it with the intent of it having multiple generations already, which obviously we all know that it doesn't. So think of something like a modern, 2023 S550 Mustang compared to a Fox body from the early 80s. They're completely different looking. I mean, obviously, maybe the Mustang's not a good example, because when the S197 was introduced, it really started to look like the 60s and kind of leapfrogged over the whole SN95, the Fox body generations and stuff like that. But that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Think of any car you'd want and think of it in the 80s and think of it now. For example, think of the Z in the 80s and think of the new Z that Nissan's producing now. It's a lot of it is different. There might be 3 or 4 features that really carry on and pay homage to the history of the vehicle, but besides that, it should be a decent amount different than the DeLoreans that we've seen in the early 80s. Now, also talking on this topic and kind of comparing it to the new Countach that Lamborghini revealed in, I believe, this past year's Pebble Beach, or I think it was another event, or it might have been another event. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments. But that is a perfect example of a vehicle that's kind of been designed as more of like a concept vehicle. I know they're actually going to produce the Countach, but more of kind of like a, just transporting the style from the 80s into modern times and kind of just modernizing it a little bit and calling it a day. Whereas I feel like this DeLorean is just going to be a completely different vibe than the Countach, because if they actually do design it, like it did have imaginary multiple generations in between today's design and the 80s design. It should possibly be maybe like a little bit more curved. You could see the picture of like the lined up DeLoreans right here. Maybe not as harsh of body lines. Again, you're still going to have those gull wing doors, but maybe a little bit smoother in the front here, a little bit more rounded off, not like a cheese wedge. But honestly, who knows? Who knows what it's going to actually look like? I'm also really excited to see. I'm also very excited to see how it is going to perform and be technically, again, like we kind of just did a little run through of the DeLorean specs in the beginning of this video. If it's electric, it should actually be pretty quick. I mean, I can't think of any fully electric modern vehicle just off the top of my head that is slow. I mean, even some of the Volvo SUVs that I've driven on the channel and done reviews on, they're pretty quick and they're pretty heavy, you know, mid-size SUVs. So it should be really awesome to see what they come out with. But again, we're not going to be able to see it until August, unfortunately. But that's definitely something that's going to be on my radar. And if you guys have any other information on the new electric DeLoreans, let me know down in the comments below. But that's pretty much just going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, definitely leave a like down below. Also, if you haven't already, definitely be sure to subscribe. A lot of you guys who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so it really helps me out as a smaller YouTuber. If you're to just go down there, you know, take the millisecond that it takes to hit that subscribe button, it's absolutely free, and again, it helps me out a lot. But like always, thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.